Maths is so boring. It's just a bunch of rules. There's so many. I never know which one to use. Have you heard this before? Maybe your child is in year 8, year 9, and they're struggling with maths, need to reset their relationship. Listen up. In today's video, I'm going to show you one simple trick to relieve their stresses and unlock their mathematical potential. Sound good? It's a trick I use with my students and it works wonders. It's a very powerful trick, and once you see it, it's quite difficult to unsee. It gets them enjoying their maths, and as we all know, from enjoyment comes excellence. The trick is to realize that maths is only really 6 strands. That's right, 6. I see so many checklists with hundreds of skills and techniques. It's confusing, it's off-putting, and it makes maths a slog. Once we focus on the principle of each strand and understand the concept, it becomes so much easier and more obvious. You don't have to go through a bunch of steps. You just know it. It just makes sense. Let's take ratio and proportion, for example, one of the 6 strands I've just listed. What's the high-level concept? Well, it's balancing parts to make a perfect mixture. That's all that ratio is about. Now, this can be applied practically, but also abstractly. So I'm going to give you a few examples now. Think of paint. Some of you will all remember your primary colors and mixing to make secondary and stuff like that. So it's a good example. Think of the color purple. Is it harder to make the shade purple or Cadbury's purple? Well, it's Cadbury's purple, of course, isn't it? You can make purple just by adding blue and red, for those of you who knew that, well done. But to make Cadbury's purple, you need to get the exact mixture between the blue and the red. Too much blue and it'll be too light. Too much red and it'll be too dark. And Dairy Milk's brand recognition goes through the floor because people start to not trust, oh, why is it this? They can't even get the color right. But as a global brand, they have to think about keeping this mixture, whether they're making 100 liters of paint, 1,000 liters of paint, etc., etc. They need to keep this balance perfect. So if you're making Cadbury's purple, let's say the ratio is 1 to 3, then that gives you an idea of how much paint you're making. You know how much of each part you need. So I've got 100 liters of red. I know I need 300 liters of blue. That'll make 400 liters in total. If I had 5 liters of red, I'd need 15 liters of blue to make 20 liters. You're starting to see the pattern here. Okay, if I was trying to make 800 liters, could you work backwards to work out how much of each paint I would need? And that's one of the common questions in ratio. And we can talk about how to solve that very quickly and easily. Well, I won't do that now, but as long as you understand that's what we're looking to do. Now, this concept of mixing things in a perfect balance extends throughout life. Let's take a company, for example. What's the perfect mixture ratio, or what's the perfect percentage, fraction, we call that proportion, that I should spend on each part of the business? Innovation, employees, training, all these kinds of, what's the perfect mixture of that so that I grow as a business? Ratio is a topic that goes deep. Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher, even argued that there is a golden or perfect ratio that goes throughout all of life. He called this the golden mean. Too much anger and you're very aggressive, but too much passivity and you're a bit of a walkover. So you need a balance between the two to be assertive. That would be an example. If you'll take any risk under the sun, probably call you an idiot, wouldn't I? If you'll never take a risk in your life, well, then you're a coward. So we want a balance between the two again, to be courageous. Starting to see how this concept can be everywhere, right? Even take the body, for example. There's a perfect ratio. Dante used those ratios to create brilliant art. Michelangelo, the same, by looking at ratios between parts of the body. I don't know if some of you have seen those tricks. Your shoe size is the same as elbow to wrist, or things like this. There's ratios between the body, or the proportional ratio of salt in your blood. If it's too high, you're in trouble. If it's too low, you're also in trouble. So we're always looking at this perfect balance, or equilibrium in that case. But that's enough for now. That will definitely help you in answering ratio questions. If you just think, oh, we're thinking about what is the perfect balance between these parts, and then you won't really trip up between all these different types of questions because you'll actually know where they're coming from.